Hello guys, welcome back to Ola Tech TV. Today I'm going to teach you React from scratch in just 30 minutes. Whether you are completely new React or you've heard about it but don't know where to start, this is a perfect crash course for you. First, what is React? React is a JavaScript library created by Facebook in 2013. It is used to build a fast and interactive user interface, that's UI. React is used to build fast and what interactive UIs, that's user interface, especially for web application. When you visit a website like Facebook, Instagram or Netflix, those smooth dynamic pages are often built with React. So for example, if you go to your Facebook or your Instagram or your Netflix, so the smooth pages, all the smooth dynamic pages are often built with what? Using React. So we use React to build all these UI. React lets you build something called what we call components. Reusable piece of code that describes how part of your app should look and behave. So what I mean by this is that likewise your HTML, CSS and JavaScript, whereby you want to create a login page or sign up, that you need to copy the code, need to edit it. React lets you what? Build what we call components. So component is a reusable piece of code that describe how part of your app should look and behave. So you can reuse it. So React allow you to what? To reuse code, and it's created by Facebook and it's fast and was scalable. So think of a website like Lego. So think of a website like a Lego. So each block is a what? Is called a component. So each block is called what? Is called a component. You build a small piece like a button, navbar, and put them together to make a full website. So first you will build your what? A button, your navbar or card, then put them together and it make what? A full website. For example, this Lego here, okay. So take a website like this, continue. Okay, so here this is built using React. Can you see? So here we have our navbar, we have this hero, and we have the card. So think a website like this. So each block is a what? It's called a component. You build small piece like a button, your navbar, your card, your footer, and put everything together. It make a full website. So why do we need the React? So React make you what? Use reusable content. Once you write it once, you can use it everywhere. Then fast rendering. So use what we call something called virtual DOM. Only updated what changes. So what I mean is that anytime you make an update, it change it automatically. That's what we call virtual DOM. To only updated what changes. Then strong ecosystem. So each community thousand of plugins and tools. So you have many packages in React that we can use. So we have a lot of packages that we can use in React. They use big companies. So we have big companies. So it's backed by what? Big companies. That's Facebook. Because it was created by Facebook. Then Uber use React, Airbnb use React, and more other app use React. So it was what? It's have what we call big companies. So what do we call JXS HTML in JavaScript? Okay, so HTML in JavaScript. So in React we use what we call JXX. So that's our HTML in JavaScript. Likewise, your HTML, you create your index.html, then put your CSS. But here we use what we call JXS, is our what? HTML in JavaScript. So one of the things you will notice in React is something called JXS. DSS lets you write HTML inside JavaScript. It looks weird at first, but it's powerful, and it lets you mix your UI HTML with your logic JavaScript. We use UI. We use HTML to create our UI while we use JavaScript to create our logic. So it lets you what? Mix both together. Both the HTML, your UI, and your what? And your logic JavaScript in the same place. That's why we call it. For example, yeah. Okay. For example, we have this. So for example, we have this. So we have our example, we have this kind of code. If you can see, we have a function navbar, then we have our navbar, UL tag, li. So here we are writing our HTML and our JavaScript in a same place. So that's what we call React. So they return an HTML element just like what? Just like HTML. So it return HTML element. This is UL. You know UL in your HTML, your navbar, that's your nav in your HTML. So, but it is inside what? JavaScript. So components, what do we call components? Components are the heart of React. You can think of them as a what? As a small UI pieces. So then we have a two type of components. We have two main type. We have what we call functional components. That's our modern and preferable. Then we have what we call class component. That one is old version. So for example, let me give you example of what we call functional components and what we call class component. So class component is older. That's old version of React. But before we go into how do we now install React? How do we use it? How do we install this React? First, there's what we call command in code. So before you install React, you need to know what they call command because we don't just create a file, just call it DSS or navbar.dss. We use what we call Node.js. So Node.js is a package. So we'll go to Node.js website, then download our Node.js to our system. Okay, so you go to your Chrome, then search for Node.js, then we click here. So we click on this. So what's Node.js? So Node.js, okay, still loading. So what do we call Node.js? So what we call Node.js is where you run your JavaScript everywhere. So you go to Node.js here. So you see, it's a free open source cross-platform JavaScript runtime environment that let developer create server, web app, command line tools and scripts. So you install this to your what? To your system. So you click on install. So you download it, then install it to your system. So I already have Node.js on my system here. So after installing your Node.js, you come to your command prompt using CMD. Open your command prompt. So you check your Node.js version, node-v. So my own Node.js version is what? 22. Then we use what we call npm. Npm is called node node package manager. Node package manager, yes. So it's a what? It's a manager. It store all our Node.js package, all the JavaScript package. So everything you will be installing, your packages, everything will be what we use this npm. So npm store our what is a node yes, Node.js packages. Okay, node package manager. Yes, that's npm. Node package manager. So after installing it, so here we come to our terminal here. So here you come to our terminal here, check your node version using what? Node-v. Then you check your package manager version was using npm-v as well. So once you see these two things, so everything is installed. First you install the Node.js, then after installing, so how do you install? Go to the nodejs.com or Node.js official page, install it to your system. After installing, download it to your system. After downloading, Then you open your command prompt using cmd, go to your search, then cmd. After running this cmd, it will open the command prompt, then write node space dash v. This dash v means the version of the node.js. So it takes you here. So this version that I'm using is version 22. Then you check the what, the package manager. So this npm is called node package manager. So all our package that we'll be using, we use what we call npm to install all javascript package. So we use this npm. So it's our package manager. So you look at what the version as well. So it's what, 10.2. So the version is 10.2. Then you look at the version of your node and your npm. So we use this to install our javascript packages. So after doing that, so we install React. But before installing React, there's what we call Vite. So yeah, first understand that what React is what we call JavaScript library, and it was created by Facebook 2013. So there's what we call Vite using React. So what's Vite? So Vite is pronounced as Vite, Veet. That's the pronunciation. So Vite is a modern build tools that help you start and run front-end projects like React super fast. So Vite is like a what? Is a tool that help you run your React. So this is your code that you are writing, in your HTML. You can't run your HTML. You can only run your HTML using your live server. There's an extension in your code that we call live server. So you can run it, or you run it using what, your normal folder, open the file. So here we have Vital is a build tool for web that helps you run your what, your web, your React and others. So you can run JavaScript there, run your CSS, your TypeScript, yes, and more. Can you see? So this is what Vite is doing. So how do you use Vite in React? So this is React, right? So how do you use Vite in React? So think of Vite like it was as a tool that helps you create a new React project, run a local development server, and build your app for production when you are ready to publish it. So once you are ready, like you are ready with your React project and you want to publish it, so Vite was what, help you publish it. So Vite was created by Evan, the creator of what, Vue.js. So we have another language called Vue.js. So it was created by Evan and is now one of the fastest tools for what, for front end development. Yes, so Vite is one of the what, fastest tool for front end development. So why Vite instead of what, create React app? So there's another thing we call CRA, create React app. If we don't want to use this Vite, we have what we call create React app as well. So in the past, people use create React app to start projects, but create React app is what, is a bit outdated now, and it can be very very slow. Yes. So there's what we call create React app as well. So for example, I will be so let's install our React now. So we use create React app, but create React app is very very outdated now. So it's old version. Now we use Vite because it's very very fast. So how do we now install this Vite? First, you open your command prompt. So okay. So go to your file manager, then create a new folder. So you can call your folder, come here. I can create my folder under my desktop here. Then I can call this folder my first React, right? So new folder here. Then you can call this folder my first React, right? So after creating this folder, after you create this folder, finish, you open it using your VS Code. First, you need to get your VS Code. So if you don't have VS Code, install VS Code. Just go online, search installing VS Code. So install your VS Code. So you open this folder on your VS Code. Okay, so this is my VS Code. So what do I need to do? I'll come here, then open folder. So my folder is under what? Desktop. Then the name is, so the name of my folder is my first. That was under yeah, okay. So my first React, then select the folder. You can hide this guy. Okay, so this is my folder here. I don't have any file here, right? No file, no anything. It's just like your hotel, just a folder only. So how do you now create our React app? We use what we call terminal. So terminal is like what is where we run our command. So how do you open your terminal? You come here, then open your terminal here. So installing, we are using Vite to create our what? To create our React. So what do you do? So here inside this terminal, we have many app you can use to run. You can use your PowerShell, you can use your Git bash, your command prompt. So me, I do use this two, PowerShell, command prompt or Git bash. So this is the three. So let's use our PowerShell. But if you see your PowerShell is not working, try either the command prompt or your Git bash. But I'll be using this. Then what do you do? npm. So remember, npm is our what? Our node package manager. For what? Installing any package. Remember, this is a package now. So we want to create a new package for our React. So npm create. I want to create npm create Vite. But this won't work if you haven't installed your Node.js. So you need to install your Node.js first on your system. So once you install the Node.js, then you what? You run npm-v to see maybe this. So you check the version of your what, or of your node package manager. So if you see something like this, that means it's working. But if you don't see it, that means you haven't installed your node to your system. If you have any question, just comment. So npm create Vite. So we are using Vite at latest. I'll be using dots. Yes. So here he said need to install the following packages. Create Vite at 7.0. So the latest version of Vite is what? 7.0. So okay, to proceed, press yes. So y is yes. Okay. So your package name. So you need to give it a package name. So your package name can be my first React app as well, right? My first, my first React, my first React. Okay, okay, app. Let me use app. Any problem? Okay, I just use mine. Maybe the name already exists. So you select a framework. Remember, yeah, React is a what? Is a JavaScript framework. So you select a framework that you are creating. Cause Vite that we are using allow you to create many framework. So you can use Vite on your Vue, on your Preact, on your Lead, Solid, Angular, and others. But we are using what? You are using Vite of what? React. So we select React. So how do you select it? You use this arrow, your down arrow. So select this React. So under this React, we have what? Select a what? A variant. Is it a TypeScript React? A TypeScript or a JavaScript? So we are using JavaScript. TypeScript is like what? Advance of JavaScript. But we're using normal JavaScript here. So everything is done like this. Can you see? Can you see the magic? So it creates all this folder structure for a public folder, src, git, ignore, index.html, package.json, readme file, and vite config. So now say done now. Then run. So e give you what? You need to run this to make everything fine. First, run npm install. So npm install all the packages. So what does npm install do is that what? It install all the packages. So what do you need to do? You come here, then run this command npm install. So after running this command, okay, so we have this installed finish. Can you see? We have added 153 packages and audited 154 packages in 3 minutes. That three packages are looking for funding. So is what is installed like this. If you see this message, so our React is installed. So what's the next thing? He said npm run dev. So this npm run dev is used to start our server. So this is our node module that contain all the packages. Can you see? So these are all the packages that we are using. These are all our JavaScript packages. Okay. So what do? You come here again, then run that npm run dev. So npm run dev. Okay. So can you see? So it give you your what? Your local what URL that you can use to view your site. So in your HTML, you see you use something like 124 stuff like that, 127,000 to view your site. But here you use this command to what? To get your server. So we go into this command on your what? On our web browser, on your Chrome or your any browser that you are using. So you come here, you open this link. Okay, so this is what we see on the link. So we have Vite plus React, count stuff like that. So this is what the main page followed by what React and Vite. So after installing this, we have our what our first React running like this. So you go back to the code and you can now edit the code to what we have. So today we'll be building simple navbar. Then by the end of the video, you will know how to use React and how the folder structure goes. So you go back to your code. Okay, so you come here again. So here we have node module. So let me explain all this structure for you. Then we have public, we have src, and we have our index.html file. So all these that you are seeing here, all right, all these that you are seeing here is first our node module is it contain our all our packages, all our node packages. That's why we run what we call npm. That's node package manager. So after running this npm, it create this folder called node module. So node module contain all the packages that we are using here. So this public that you are seeing here is contain all our images, your videos and everything. If you can see, we have our vite.svg. So this vite.svg is something we are seeing on our web page. Then the src folder is what we call our source file. So all the source file is inside this src folder. Then we have what we call main.jxs. Under this, we have what we call main.jxs. So this file that you are seeing here is what we call entry points. So what I mean by entry point is that everything is inside it. Then we have what we call app.jxx. So this is called root component. This is like the main component, the main file, your root component. This is what we call root component. Then what we call index.css. This is your what? General CSS file. Your general CSS file. So how do we now use this? So let's look at all this folder structure. The src contain all your main file. That's the what? Your main.jss is the what? Is the entry point, and the app.js is the what? Main component. You see all your CSS file and where what they have. So first, this is our root file. This app.js. So everything that we are seeing on our web page, can you see? Vite plus React, count, edit, clinical, everything we see on this page now, this is everything here. So we can clear this code because it's what? We don't need it. We can clear the CSS, we don't need it. So Control A, clear this, come back to this, Control A, clear this. So how do we now create our what? Our React. How do we write our React code? Remember, we use GSS. GSS contain what? HTML and JavaScript in one file. So I can write HTML and my JavaScript in this file. So for example, I can write a code, then call it a function of welcome. I want to write a function of welcome. So my function of welcome to return, then I can now use my HTML now. H1 of welcome to React. Welcome to React. Right? So here I declare a function name, call it welcome. Then I said this function should return what we call H1 of what? JavaScript. Can you see that I'm writing JavaScript and HTML in what? In the same file, call it JXL. But this thing that I call, I need to what? Export it. Export default of welcome. So here, if I go back to the web page now, if I go back to my web page, I will see this welcome to React because I'm writing the code in our what? In our main component. That's our what? Our root, our what? Main component. This app.js is our what? Main component. Why the main.js is our what? Is the entry point. Okay, can we see this now? We have what? Welcome to React. So this welcome to React, we are writing because of what? Is in our what? In our source, in our main file. That's what app.jxs. That's our main file that contain everything in the app. So all your header, your footer, your card, everything will now be inside this app.jsl. For example, let me show you a simple one before this video ends. So I will show you. Let's create a simple navbar using our HTML and our CSS. So we'll create a simple navbar. Then I'll use that to explain some React function that I'll use. Okay, yeah. I'll go to my code. Okay, so this is my code here. So here I declare a function of welcome. Then I tell about this function to return hello JavaScript. Then I run it, so it return it. Can you see that I do not need to close the server, then run it again before the update work? Is what it work automatically. So this is still running. Can you see? It's still running like this. So this is running. My local 570 is running. So here I can now create a file, a folder under this our source folder. Call it components. Can use small letters. Components, right? Components. So under this, I can create a new folder, call it header, because I want to design header. Then under this header, I can create a file, call it header.jxs. Then a new file, call it header.css. Okay, so under here, rc. Okay, so I use a command here, like a shortcut. So how do you get that shortcut? Come to your extension here, then find ERFC. Okay, can you see ES7 React? So install this. So after installing this, just come to your corner and write RFCE. So this automatically what imports React snippet. So what do you need? It declare the function for you, the name of your file. So inside here, so your normal, how do you design your normal code? So I can come here again. So let's be fast on this. I can say return nav. So let's use nav. Return nav. Return nav. So this I can give it a class. So here we use class name, not class. Class name of navbar. So yeah, under this number I have a div. I can have a div container. Call it navbar container. Class name of navbar. Navbar dash container. All right. Okay, so this code that you are seeing here, how do I run this code? So I will import this file inside our main file. So how do we do that? You come here,